Hello, Raúl Colon from Laughing Gear here with
Jossie
and Myriam
from Aventuras Yuiza. We're here in Old San Juan today, and I've been getting tired of seeing a lot of YouTubers making videos on Old San Juan, not knowing the history. And Myriam and Jossie are perfect for that. So we're gonna be walking around Old San Juan. We're gonna be learning a little bit of history, and I'm gonna be experiencing Old San Juan from their eyes. So I'm here with Aventuras Yuiza, Myriam and Jossie. Jossie and Myriam, can you tell us a little bit more of what Aventuras Yuiza is and how it came about?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having us here today. We are in beautiful Viejo San Juan. And, Aventuras Yuiza actually came up about 4 years ago after we had lived in Massachusetts for over 20 years for me, over 30 for Myriam. The plan was to come back home, return to our Patria. And all of a sudden, Myriam says, you know what, we should just start our own tourism business. And I said, what? And here we are. So Myriam actually certified herself as a tour guide with the Department of Tourism. And what we do is we do tours, and we do those in a way that's educational and fun and interactive. And we don't sugarcoat stuff, right? We want to show Puerto Rico to people. If it's their first time, if it's a returning time, we want to show it the way we want to see it and the way we enjoy it.
And more importantly, from locals, because Jossie and Myriam are from Puerto Rico. They moved outside. Like at one point, I also lived in Connecticut, so it's kind of like a tri-state area. It's just tri-state area, New England. Yeah. So it's more of a perspective from locals, right? Because you get a lot of people who have an experience, and like Jossie said, it's sugar coated. It's very sterile, and it's not the reality of what Puerto Ricans live through and the experiences we have as Puerto Ricans. Myriam, can you explain a bit more of where we're at right now?
We're here in la Plaza del Quinto Centenario. This is one of the stops that I explain to my folks how the 500 years of colonization are depicted in this plaza in all 500 years. The first 200 years are on the sheep that are on the statues on the plaza, and then the 300 year, 400 years, and 500 years, 500 years are in the benches. And I won't explain no more because you need to come and see us and visit with us so that I can explain to you where else is the number 5. But one beautiful piece that that I explain is the totem, el totem, that is out here. That is the one piece in this plaza that celebrates and honors the bloodshed by the ones who defended our island from colonizers.
So that's one of the cool things about being with a tour guide and somebody local. You're not just gonna experience a plaza like every other tourist might. You're gonna get a little bit of history. You're gonna get a little bit of more details that you're gonna miss out, and you're not gonna know unless you know a lot of research. Disculpa. Gracias. So, like I said, you're gonna be able to have an experience where you are gonna get a lot of insight, a lot of history, and a lot of cool little what do they call them, Easter eggs around the plaza. So we're gonna be walking around. I think, where are we going now, Jossie?
So I think we're going to head over towards Calle San Sebastián and Plaza San Jose, so we can talk a little bit more about that area.
Okay, we'll be walking towards that way, and I'm going to show some visuals of what Myriam was talking about. So I'm here with Myriam in front of one of the lambs, correct? Right?
Yep.
Oveja in Spanish.
Yep.
And can you give a little bit of history of what this represents, or tell us a little bit more?
So these 2 lambs are actually the coat of arms of the city of San Juan and the island of Puerto Rico. So when the King of Spain decided in the 1500s, when the King of Spain decided to make Puerto Rico part of Spain, a colony of Spain, he commissioned a coat of arms. And that coat of arms is today the oldest coat of arms used in America, still used by government officials. So if you can see, if you look around, any government official documentation will have the coat of arms on it, including when they're announcing construction in the city. They have the information of the construction, and then the coat of arms is there in those.
And I know there's a difference in between one of these two lambs, right? What do each one represent?
Oh, ahí sí que no.
No, okay.
No,
so
esa
one
parte
of the so that's the cool thing about this collaborative. So
Yeah.
one of the cool things is one lamb is representing what was ancient, what was old, right?
Mhm.
And one was representing youth, right? The one that's laying down more relaxed is that knowledge, that wisdom. And the one going over there, that one's the youth. That one is the people that are coming forward. So
That's correct.
So we're here at Calle San Sebastián. Right now, it looks nice and free and open. We're in May. If this was January, this would be packed with people. Why? Because we have one of the biggest, if not the biggest festival in Puerto Rico, La Fiesta de la Calle San Sebastián. 4 days of nonstop just partying, culture, food, drinks, experiences. And that's actually one of the things that we even bring our Aventuras Yuiza guests to, because it's about showing people our real culture. So let's just take a walk down La Calle San Sebastián so we can show you some of our favorite spots.
and that's one of those dates where you have to be booked early.
Absolutely.
Because everybody wants to do a Fiesta San Sebastián. And if you do it a local, it's the way to do it.
Absolutely.
There's no way to do it.
You'll know, with us, you'll know the best spots to have some food, to get some drinks, to get the best vibe, to, you know, go to the spots, even where the restrooms are. Like, those are the kinds of things that people need to know when you have thousands and thousands of people that are descending on this city for 4 days in a row. And then we have things like this mural right here, Don Pedro Albizu Campos. You know, again, a huge part of our history, somebody who is very, very important in the history of Puerto Rico, the independence movement. This is an opportunity where we can stop here. We can tell our guests, you know, why the importance of Don Pedro Albizu Campos. What does it mean? As we look over there, our 3 flags, Puerto Rico, Resistance, and Lares, also huge part of our history. It's not just about stopping where the Instagram and TikTok photos are supposed to happen. It's about learning the history and learning it through the lens of a local.
I think you couldn't have said it better. Yeah. So where are we headed now?
So we're gonna head over to one of our favorite bars. It's called La Sombrilla Rosa. It's owned by a lesbian woman by the name of Rosa. She has been in the business here in Viejo San Juan for many, many years. A story says that she started as a barback, and now for many years she has owned her own bar, La Sombrilla Rosa. And it's actually right where that pride flag is. So we love bringing people here because it's owned by a local. It gives you the vibe of being in an LGBTQ spot that is basically for everybody. So it's straight friendly, it's for everyone. And you can hear the music, right? Like, we're going through El Cafetín. El Chivirico is right here, which is a great art gallery. You can hear the music from El Cafetín, obviously. We have La Sombrilla Rosa. Right up on the left, we have La Tita, which is also owned by Rosa. And we'll check that one out in a little bit so you can see a cool new mural. But
So
let's head over to La Sombrilla Rosa.
And that's what's cool about this, right? Whenever you see a pride flag, you know it's inclusive.
Absolutely.
So talking about Instagram spots, right?
All right.
There's nothing wrong with doing them. It's just a matter of fact of getting some context with them, right? It's not just taking the
so,
photo.
you know, you may have heard of a little artist called Bad Bunny, right? Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, who did his 30 shows, actually 31, for his residency here in Puerto Rico. And here we have a mural that basically came around all of that, of El Sapo Concho. Everybody always wants to take a photo here. And again, it's like tying the new Viejo San Juan with the history of Viejo San Juan. And that's kind of what we try to do here with Aventuras Yuiza, is keep it active, keep it contemporary, but never forgetting the history and the stories that kind of brought us here. For example, one of the things that Myriam talks about is the story of these cobblestones. Like, that's something that if you do the tour with us, you'll hear what the story behind this cobblestone is. Everybody's like, oh, these are so beautiful, except the people in heels. You know, those folks don't like the cobblestone. But there's a history behind this. Like, that's part of what we talk about when we're here in Viejo San Juan with our folks.
And those are the kind of tips you give your customers, right? Your guests. Don't wear heels
right.
if you're coming on San Juan.
No heels in Viejo San Juan. When I see weddings, I'm like, I get a headache because I know somebody's gonna probably, mess up their ankle. But again, it's a beautiful city. I mean, Myriam really takes the time to talk about the architecture, the views that we have here, what it all means. This is a gem. This is a huge part of Puerto Rico, and people should always come here when they're visiting and they're on vacation. But again, coming in a way that's significant and in a way where you're really learning about the local approach and what we can offer as a beautiful Viejo San Juan.
Super. So we're still in Calle San Sebastián. Myriam, can you tell us a little bit more of?
Yeah, so one of the things that I discuss in my tour is the difference between the balconies and how the French influence have changed over time, the look of the balconies. If you notice here, we have 3 different looks of the balconies. And so the ones with the ironwork, of course, are the French influence. And so that is one of the pieces that I talk about in my tours. There's parts of Old San Juan that you're walking around and you feel like you are in New Orleans. And so I invite you to come so you could take a look at those areas that actually look like New Orleans, that you are walking through New Orleans. And it is part of that French gift that was given to us in the 17th century.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, right? Because ever since the history that was told, we were told it was Spaniard, African,
right,
and Taino, right, indigenous.
Right.
But the reality is, it wasn't. It was.
We have a mixture of
like
French, we have Irish, we have
English,
German, Portugal. I mean, we have, and it's evident in the last names that prevail here in the island of those folks.
Yeah, like I myself have French heritage.
Yeah.
And then also have, but then when I looked at my DNA, it came up all over the place because even though my ancestor came from Marseille, which was a major port, he probably had other heritage that was not from France. So yeah, so it's kind of cool to get, like, I didn't know this. I just learned something with Myriam. Yeah.
Cool.
So Jossie, where are we at?
So this is a pretty cool spot. It's called Materia Prima, and it's like a little farmer's market in the middle of Old San Juan. So you have some local produce here, some beautiful pineapples, watermelons, bananas. You have mangoes, avocados. You have local sauces and coffees. And then they have a great coffee shop. They have some amazing coffee that's right over at that bar over there. And it's just a super cool spot. And it's called Materia Prima. And it's right here at Hotel El Convento. And it's open to everybody. And I think they're open like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it's pretty extensive hours.
So you're staying in a hotel in Old San Juan or staying in Airbnb.
Yep,
this
absolutely.
might be a good option to get some really good produce.
Yes, and to get some good coffee.
TV dinners and stuff like that.
Right. Some fresh stuff here. I mean, these are this is like ready for a smoothie, obviously. So we even have little guineitos niños, which, we grew up with that as little kids, right?
As a reference, put your hand over there, Jossie. So they are smaller.
Look, it's actually the size of my pinky.
Exactly. Very, very small type of banana.
So
my grandma used to make something called jibaritos, right?
¿De qué?
Did you ever try the jibaritos?
Claro,
Yeah,
seguro.
So, and then some mangoes.
Yeah.
And then what else?
Good local stuff. Right behind us is the iconic Hotel El Convento. Nowadays, you can stay there for a couple $100 a night, a couple hundred. But in the past, it used to be a convent for nuns, and there's a pretty cool story behind it. That's one of the stories that we share when we're doing the tour with our Aventuras Yuiza guests, the real story behind El Convento. So check it out when you're with us.
we're standing at the very first street that was built in Old San Juan when it was founded in 1511. And as we're walking down, we're gonna head to the La Puerta de San Juan, which is one of the first doors that was built once they started building the walls of the walled city of Old San Juan. And so let's go down here so you can see the door.
And there's some stories of why they set it up here, right?
Yes,
they set that main
absolutely.
street?
Yes, absolutely. This is where the caleta, the word caleta means a dockway.
Okay.
So the ship would dock here at the end of the entrance of the door. The men, after so many months of voyage, they would walk up straight to the church to thank God for their voyage. This door is the only one that's left out of the 5 doors that were built on the walled city. This is the only one that's left. The others, part of the walls were torn down in the late 1800s. And 2 of the entrances today go towards the cemetery and also the community of La Perla, which I talk about as well in my tour.
And we're right here near
the governor's mansion. The governor's mansion, which was the very first fort that was built in Old San Juan. Very soon, they realized that it was too small and it was too far from the entrance of the bay where the invaders would be entering. And so they shut it down and they started building el Castillo San Felipe del Morro, sorry.
Okay, so
they began to build
Castillo Santa Catalina, right? That's what it was called, or
Santa Catalina.
Exactly.
Is this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But do you know if it was called Castillo Santa Catalina from the beginning, or?
Yeah, it was called Castillo Santa Catalina from its creation.
The very ugly views of Old San Juan.
Yes.
Approach sunset.
I think this is one of the places I can visit many times and I never get tired.
Fall in love with it.
And that trail is closed, or?
During the day, the trail opens. It closes around 5 p.m. But
Okay.
during the day, you could walk all around the walls, all the way to the back of the castle, San Felipe del Morro.
And then towards the back, you're gonna see the Bacardi factory.
That's correct.
Cataño.
We're all
Cataño.
there. On the other side, you're going to see a little island. There are 2 forts that were built there as well. And so the importance of those forts was that when we had invaders coming in, the Spaniards were very smart in building these forts so that they could have crossfire from El Morro and from the forts in that island over there, so that the invaders could not cross through the bay.
Yeah, they pretty much, when it comes to military strategy,
They were very smart.
Yeah, they were stacking artillery on both sides.
Yeah.
There was also one in the middle of the ocean, correct? There's one artillery at the bank right there in the middle.
In the middle,
which would cover the wherever, because these cannonballs had only a certain distance. So there was one in the middle that made sure that would have covered the other areas.
Both areas.
Yeah. If you're on El Morro, you can still some of the ruins or some of the old drawings.
Yeah,
you can see it.
yeah.
So we're here in la Calle Resistencia, and Jossie and Myriam are going to give a little bit of context of what has happened here way before there were umbrellas here.
Right. So a lot of people that are coming to visit are always asking, where's the street with the umbrellas? Where's the street? So at some point, not anymore, right here at the intersection of Calle La Fortaleza and Calle del Cristo, where the governor's mansion is, La Fortaleza, there were some umbrellas, and a lot of people would come and take photos with that. But for us, as Puerto Ricans, the importance of this intersection right here is that this is ground zero for a lot of the protests that happen here in Puerto Rico. One of the most memorable ones in the last decade was the summer of 2019, when Ricardo Rosselló was ousted as governor of Puerto Rico. And this street was just absolutely covered. Every single square inch here was covered with people that were protesting, demanding that he step down after a series of WhatsApp chats had come out. And this was obviously after Hurricane Maria, when, you know, people were in pain. And so the people took to the street and basically said, esta es la calle de la Resistencia. This is a street of resistance. And they kind of renamed this intersection here. There's a sign actually right up there where it says Calle del Cristo, where they had replaced that with Calle de la Resistencia. Obviously, that didn't last very long, as they had put it up as a public art piece. But it's part of our history here, and the struggle and the resiliency of the Puerto Rican people. So Calle de la Resistencia, Governor's Mansion, and very different story.
The reason for the protest is because the governor actually lives there, right at the end of the street. That used to be the very first fort that was built here in Old San Juan. And eventually they realized that it was not deemed to be a good enough fortification for defense, because it was too deep into Old San Juan. It was too much far away from the bay. And so they decided to build El Morro further up the street. And so that became a storage for artillery for a while, until we got colonized by the United States. And when the United States took over, the very first designated governor of Puerto Rico, who happened to be a general, he moved in there and he started the tradition of the home for the governor, the governor's
So it was a
mansion.
general, the first person that lived
Yes.
there, in the
Yes.
aspect of it being the house of whoever
The
was
house
in
of
control
governor,
of
that's
Puerto
right,
Rico,
that's correct.
was a U.S. general, right?
Correct.
And like Jossie said, one thing I don't like when I travel everywhere, I try to be very conscious of the culture. I try to inform myself, and that's what you're gonna get with Aventuras Yuiza. You're gonna get a perspective that's gonna be respectful, that's gonna be very accurate, and it's not just gonna be for, like we said before, just for photos on Instagram. It's also gonna be respectful. You know, when I hear other people talking about this street being, you know, this is one of the oldest streets built in this side of the hemisphere, as La Calle de la Sombrilla, which is the, you know, or the Umbrella Street. For me, it's a little bit offensive as a Puerto Rican,
Right.
because those umbrellas were here for a few months.
Right.
The person that set it up was actually the wife of the guy who was making fun of people who died during Maria.
Right.
And then you know, it has nothing to do with our culture. It was just a gimmick. And you know, when you're here, just keep that in mind. There's so many beautiful things we can, you know, take photos of, and maybe another day we can do a video of photo places where have some history. We've covered a few already, and you don't have to worry about the, you know, the street with the umbrellas.
Right.
So we're standing here, and I wanted to point out that this is part of the walls of the walled city. And if you notice, these walls are very wide, but they're hollow inside. They're actually full of dirt and trash. And the reason why they were built like that, it's because the Spaniards, very smart engineering, they designed them like that so that when they were bombarded, the cannonballs would sink inside the walls and they wouldn't splatter. And so it was easy to fix, and then the walls will stay in there. And then that was a way for them to save money and save time on these walls.
And then we just did a B-roll visual of the small house that's right there. Can you give some history on that?
Yeah. So sure. So the narrowest house in Puerto Rico is here in Old San Juan. And the story of that house was that there's an architect who lives next door to it. And that used to be an alleyway. And when they closed the back part of the alleyway, where on La Calle de la Fortaleza was built, they built businesses, then it became a hole in a wall, literally a hole in a wall. And so this architect went to the city and requested to buy this piece of land. He buys a piece of land and he built this beautiful house. The house has everything, has a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, office, a bathroom, everything. And so then this architect sells the house and the narrow house to another architect, the one who lives there today. And so he redid the whole house, and he added a porch on the third floor. It's really beautiful house. It's so narrow that you can hold both walls with your arms open arms with, and sometimes you can't even stretch your arms all the way out. That's how narrow this house is.
And that's one of the places people take photos in. They usually make a stop because they read it. And then we're also here on top of, what street is this?
La Tetuan.
We're on Calle Tetuan. Like Myriam said, San Juan was pretty much fortified by walls, right?
Yes.
And one interesting fact that I don't know if you share with your clients is that some of these walls, there were 2 walls. You know about that?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So we're actually standing in a bastion. And that's another very smart engineering piece of that the Spaniards did, was they created these outer walls within the walls, and they called it bastiones. And these bastiones also was so that when they were, as you're looking from the ocean, everything looks flat, right? It looks like a straight wall, but in reality is 2 walls within. And so when we were bombarded, we would be bombarded inside that area that it was full of grass. If we're standing here in one of those bastiones, today is a beautiful park, but back then it was just grass, and the wall was inside.
And if you go in Paso La Princesa, there's some areas that they actually had, I think it was explosives. You know that part?
Explosivos.
Yeah, they had explosives. So the wall had some areas that in the case that San Juan would fall, they would actually activate those explosives and the first wall would drop. But this was a last resort, kind of like defensive mechanism. I learned this maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like Myriam said, they really covered all the bases when it came to strategy.
Very
and it's
much.
pretty amazing when you're talking about just like what we see it. If you lived here all your life, you just look at this and you're like, oh, they're just walls. There's a lot more behind it. So.
So for all you chocolate lovers out there, this is one of our favorite spots, Montadero. So here's a little backstory. When we started this business of Aventuras Yuiza, we started in the town of Sidra. Sidra is about 40 minutes south of San Juan. It's known as La Ciudad de la Eterna Primavera, the city of eternal spring. And right next to Sidra, there's a very large city called Caguas. So Montadero, which is the business we're at, started in Caguas. And they have a store that you can go buy chocolate. You can actually do tours where you can learn how to make your own chocolate bar. It's a really, really cool space. So as we started the business and Caguas was so close, we ended up bringing some of our clients there to do the tours, to learn how to do the chocolate. And they said, we're actually going to open a second store in Old San Juan. So as soon as we learned that they had opened here, this is definitely a stop when we're here with Aventuras Yuiza folks, if they're chocolate lovers. Why? Because it's a business that is owned by locals. They invested in the community in Caguas and now here in Viejo San Juan. And this is 100% Puerto Rican cacao. This is like the real deal. It is to die for. One of the best secrets they have a collaboration with Bacardi, where they do these truffles that are literally paired with Bacardi, including like the ones that are super reserve, many years of aged rum. Some of the best stuff they have. So if you're a chocolate lover, you got to come to Montadero.
Maybe that could be a next video, right? We can come and check Montadero out. Yeah. Now I'm only sad, but they're closed.
So Raúl, one of the painful truths that our history has is when the United States took over Puerto Rico, they converted Old San Juan into a military fort. And so they called it Fort Brooks. And one of the Fort Brooks, correct, yeah. And so one of the very first things they wanted to do was to eliminate the historical buildings. And they began to eliminate the historical buildings of Old San Juan because they wanted to create Old San Juan as the little vacation place for the elite. And they wanted to create a little New York City, a small vacation place for New York City folks. And so what they did is they began to tear down buildings from the south of the little island all the way to the north. And so if you notice, the streets here are wider. They widened the streets and they began to tear down buildings, and they started to build these high racers. They began with this one. This is the first one that they built, which today is the Banco Popular de Puerto Rico. It has 11 stories on one side and 9 on the other. They also built the first federal court, and which is that building over there. And next to it is the first post office. But thanks to Ricardo Alegría, one of our heroes from the 20th century, who fought in the courts to preserve the history of the island and especially of Old San Juan, our very first city. And so he was able to win in the courts, and so he stopped all the tearing down of these buildings and preserved the history of the island. And he was also the first to create the School of Culture and History of the island, which we call La ICPR, the Institute of Culture, Puerto Rican Culture, yeah.
I think this is one cool thing, right? I've walked in front of this many times, and now when you mentioned this, I used to work in Midtown, New York, and this reminds me, like if you go into Rockefeller Center,
that's correct.
Like the area that used to have a Banana Republic, probably still there. It has like almost similar architecture.
Yeah, and the sidewalks too, the widened sidewalks. Of course, they had to put the eagles on the walls of the building. This building also has an eagle.
They put an eagle.
Right.
Yeah. So again, these are cool, interesting facts that unless you're with somebody that's a certified tour guide, you're gonna miss out on it. You know.
Yes.
And because I've come here as a photographer many times, and that's what I was telling Jossie and Myriam earlier. Every time I find something unique or something new that I haven't seen yet. So you can come here many times and take many tours with Aventuras Yuiza. And you're still gonna have something different because you're not gonna have enough time to cover.
Yeah, no, it's so much information that I enjoy giving that, and to me, it's important to provide the real truth of the history. You know, it's history, and you can explain it in a very bland, very rare, very simple way, or you could give the real history of what happened, which is, the sad truth. It's important because it's part of our history, but it has a lot of pain within.
Yeah, that is history. History is a collection of pains. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're right close to we're about like a few minutes from the cruise port, right? So
yes.
You're docking into Old San Juan on a cruise. You're steps away. You guys, if somebody's getting off a cruise, you can wait for them.
We meet them and we begin our tour in right where the walls were torn down and there is remainings of the walls. And so we start right away with the history of Old San Juan.
And there's right next to the cruise ports where you can do that, because like here you're literally right in the middle of everything.
Historic piece, yes.
And like other excursions, you're gonna have to drive 45 minutes, an hour, whatever.
That is correct.
And then you're not gonna be able to get any history. Here, you get off the boat. If you just want the Old San Juan tour, you can do that, and then be back on the boat and have lunch. Right?
That's correct. Yeah, that is correct.
So we're here in Los Muelles, which is basically where the cruise ships dock. So these are the ports. And on a very busy day, there could be 3, 4, 5 cruise ships lined up right here. Hundreds of tourists coming into Old San Juan for the day. And so this is where we can meet you, and we can take you on an Aventuras Yuiza tour, show you the real Old San Juan, give you some background that's a combination of history, culture, architecture, the best spots for food, the best spots for drinks. Not just the usual tourist spots, but the places where us as locals like to go, the places we like to support. So hopefully you're coming to this port pretty soon here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Aventuras Yuiza can take care of you for the day and have it be an unforgettable experience. It's not just a booking, it's about making memories.
Making memories, and more important, if they're also already here and they're getting on the cruise, right, which happens a lot,
right?
Royal and Princess board from here. I think Norwegian, Disney Cruise Line, when they come, they're on the other side, in the Pan American
right.
Pier. So If you're coming in on Princess, Royal Caribbean, it's a Rhapsody, Virgin also, they're gonna pick up over here. And there's a lot of confusion with that. You have people going to the Pan American Pier and this one. So in that case,
and it's not walkable from one to the other.
It is not walkable. Yeah, and plus, if you're dragging around luggage, even if you're close by, it's not that close because you can walk from where I live for an hour, but you're not gonna be dragging that luggage. But before you get on the cruise, if you want to have like a full, tour day, you can contact Aventuras Yuiza. If when you come back, you also want to do something else, we can even pick you up and take you to where we need to be.
Yeah, we've done scenarios where folks are here a day or two before the cruise or a day or two after the cruise. And so if they're staying in the San Juan Condado area, Isla Verde, we can pick you up where you are, staying, and we can do different day tours. That's not just Old San Juan. So, everything is very customizable. It's a private experience. And once again, with locals and folks that are going to show you a good time and the real Puerto Rico.
And private, very private, very intimate.
Absolutely. So we talked about the spot for chocolate lovers. So now let's flip and pretend it's not evening and think that it's daytime and breakfast time. And right here is one of our favorites. It's Café Mallorca. They have some phenomenal breakfast. If you don't know what a Mallorca is, think about a sweet bread that they split in half, put some butter inside, and then they put in a panini press and put some powdered sugar on top. And they serve that for you nice and hot with some coffee, with some eggs, bacon, whatever you want to do for breakfast. That's Mallorca. So Café Mallorca, the spot in Old San Juan. Insider's tip, there's closed on Sundays. So don't come on Sundays.
Don't come on Sundays. And yeah, that's a lot of the Spaniard influence, right? There used to be La Bombonera, which closed. And as a kid, I used to come over, and that used to be one of my mom's favorite treats. And the Mallorca can be filled with different things, right? Like
absolutely.
Like
so you can also choose a Mallorca where they can put an egg, ham, cheese, like it could be your sandwich, right? I just like the traditional butter, powdered sugar, nothing else, with some coffee and some eggs and bacon on the side. Good to go.
As simple as possible. The reason I wanted to do one of these videos was that I saw a YouTuber that's a cruiser that went in there. He didn't understand what it was. He just explained what it was. There was somebody giving him tips, and he was like defensive. Like, if you're here in Puerto Rico, one thing, you can trust the locals.
Right.
Like, I travel to many cruise ports. This one is one of the most relaxed and the ones that people are not trying to sell you something. So if somebody's giving you a tip like Jossie just did, listen to them. It's gonna be worth it, and it's gonna make your vacation a lot better.
Take notes.
So I think we're ending the video today on this. Thank you, Jossie and Myriam, for taking the time to spend time with me in Old San Juan and teaching me about different parts of and different areas of Old San Juan. We just went down to a crypt. Myriam, you want to expand a little bit on the crypt we went down?
On the what?
On the crypt that we went down in that church.
So they're, interestingly enough, they're the folks that are buried there are from the 20th century. Back in the day, the Spaniards used to bury their folks near the churches, in the premises of the churches. This one has it underneath, which is very fascinating. But sometime in the 1800s, the Spaniards stopped that tradition of burying people in the premises of the churches. But this one, it's an exception. They still are burying people in there. So it might be part of the descendants that are continuing to be buried there.
Yeah, they probably have like, I guess a lot or something.
Yeah.
Because this is like Iglesia San Francisco, right?
Yes.
And we saw something for like 2000, it was soon, right? In the 2000s, there was somebody.
Yeah, very
we
recent.
went from 1835, I think was the furthest away.
The farthest one, 1835, but then it was probably the only one. The rest of them were late 1800s to the 1900s. Most of them are all 1900s.
So that's kind of cool. So again, thank you again. Thank you for watching the video up to this time. Where can you find Aventuras Yuiza?
Absolutely. So our website is aventurasjuiza.com. So AventurasYuiza.com. And we're also
Just
on
like the
Facebook and Instagram. And yep, just like the shirt, Aventuras Yuiza. So that's how you can find us. And again, your host, Jossie and Myriam. And thank you, Raúl, for the invite. And look forward to collaborating some more with our common guests.
Yeah, exactly. So Aventuras Yuiza is pretty much our primary tour guide provider on Laughing Gear, and most of the Puerto Rico experiences that you're gonna see on the website, actually all of them right now, are Aventuras Yuiza experiences. So if you wanna really have something different, very different than what we see or what you can find either in these other platforms I'm not gonna mention, you have a certified tour guide, Materia is one, and then you have Jossie, who's been in education, and they're both from the island. So it's kind of cool to be able to collaborate with them, learn so much, because I'm here all the time and I learn a lot. So I'm sure you guys are gonna learn a lot. So again, you go to laughinggear.com, Aventuras Yuiza, we're gonna be collaborating from now on. And yeah, if you're ready to visit Old San Juan or visit any part of the island, you guys go to the south part of the island. You were mentioning a Ponce and Yauco tour, which is...
Yeah, we do a tour that's very popular. That's the south. That's Ponce and Yauco.
I am originally from Yauco, so it's my town.
We had to include Yauco, of course. and places like beautiful beaches in Vega Baja. We go to Arecibo. We go, again, everything is customizable. Everything is private. And it's, like we said before, it's not just a booking, it's an experience. So we hope we can help you make some memories here in beautiful Puerto Rico.
And we'll leave it at that. So we'll see you in the next video. Hasta la próxima aventura.
Cheers.
Yes.